29th of September 2024, Sunday evening. Time is 10:02 p.m. I've made over 1,500 videos preaching a message of deconstructing Mormonism and becoming a grace Christian and truly converted. But I guess being truly converted means to show love to all faiths, religions, which I do, but I also need to be silenced by making that choice and see the you could say happiness or joy in those who serve God under these different types of religions and conditions, and what they believe and what they're aiming for. Now, I've just watched biblical evidence of the Bible. Some things were a bit of a shock, which sort of devalues the power of God in some way. For a start, they followed the trail to the Red Sea, 30 miles from the Egyptian city where the Pharaoh was living, which is just nothing but a field, and they generated from computer what it would look like. It was magnificent. They did find a Pharaoh, a statue in the field which was crumbled, and when they followed the path, it was all mountains and things. There's no way they could have crossed over there in 30 hours. It would take days on end. So there's a misconception right there. And when they got to the sea, it was like cliffs and things. And how did the people get down? Did they fly down there? I mean, and the sea was many miles across that sea. That means that sea would have parted in such a way that the miles and miles of sea parted. So they followed another trail where the people may have made it in 30 hours, and they ended up at the Reed Sea. And the Reed Sea is only up to your chest. So it makes it hard to imagine how all the soldiers and the chariots got swallowed up in a sea which is only as high up as here. So it devalues the power and the supernatural power of God. Makes you question. They followed the trail and it took like 30 hours to get there. But the other one, it would take days to get there. So then he went to Sodom and Gomorrah, where that happened, and it showed pieces of meteorite and all sorts of things that hit that city. The first thing they said was a volcano, but the volcano was too far away. But the meteorite was right there, right on that city of about 40,000 people. So it was nothing supernatural about a meteorite hitting the city. However, God could have made it happen, but it was no magic wand. It was no, fires from heaven, like by just pointing, zap. It was a meteorite. I'm really into evidence, and that was it was shocking, but it just makes you think. So if God of the Bible didn't do the things which people said he did, like powerfully, supernaturally, then what God is this? Because I know the Mormons teach that God moves matter around. He didn't create matter. And we will never know until we meet God who created the matter. And of course, Latter-day Saint Mormons believe that they will move matter around too. It's sort of passed down to his children who accept him through Christ and the priesthood. And they say Moses could never parted the seas without the priesthood. And back in the Old Testament, it was all about priesthood. In fact, Moses and all of them and the 144,000 come forth to govern the 1,000 years. And as I've preached about the Bible giving references to no high priest after Jesus Christ, don't need to be a high priest to enter heaven, as the Mormons teach. I'm going to stop dismissing what they believe in some respect, because if God did not magically point his finger and destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, and a meteorite just hit it because it was on timing of that meteorite just to hit, or a volcano erupted, just like in Pompeii, then it's not like God is zapping his fingers to make things happen. God can do anything. He's God. Well, if he's organizing matter and moving matter around, and the timing of it, when that meteorite was going to hit anyway, it's very scientific. And it means if God is not the God that the Bible depicted him doing all this powerful supernatural thing, and it was just the Reed Sea up to the chest, how could all those soldiers get wiped out, and horses and everything, if it wasn't higher than your chest? So if the God of the Bible has been exaggerated, passed down through the centuries, which means if God is just like a superhero or something, type of God, and he's not the God of gods, and we don't need to be concerned because he's the Father of us, but he's not the Father who created matter. If that was the case, then all religions that believe in Christ as Saviour to get to the Father would be returning home, and no one would be rejected. All we have to do is accept Jesus Christ. So this is evidence. Now, I know the Mormon Church hasn't got a scrap of evidence about their book and those people, it's claiming they came from Israel, but they came from Asia, all those South American people and so forth, cursed with a dark skin, because they were originally white and they had a fight who was going to be the prophet, who was more humble, and the one that fell out with his brother got cursed dark skin for his bickering and murmuring and his negativity and so forth. Look, the evidence of the Bible depicted that these things really did happen, but it did not happen the way we think it did. It was just matter organized by God, a creator, and he didn't point the finger and go zap. It was a meteorite that hit Sodom and Gomorrah. It was the Reed Sea which Moses crossed, because it took 30 hours to get there, where the other way to the Red Sea would take days to get there, crossing over mountains and everything. And who could do that? And they had all sorts of tents and equipment and whatever, that camels, everything. No, you see, it just throws it out of whack, which means it didn't happen that way, which means it's not as powerful and as majestic as the Bible depicted it, or how the Bible has been translated. So if you have these slight doubts, it means that these other religions, such as Mormonism, proclaim that God is a man who once became a god and he evolved, and he has the power to move matter around, but he can't just point his finger and go zap. It's all done through the science and the timing of the matrix of the universe, and he just sort of moves things around. And that was the time for Sodom and Gomorrah to be destroyed right at that moment, and the meteorite come down to hit it, and volcanoes erupt and so forth. Now, if I present this video to my Christian brothers and friends there, what are they going to say? All right? Because no one's been scientific here. They just accept it because it gives them comfort. Well, it gives Mormons comfort too, to know what they believe. And they depict God as a person that's more powerful than us, but he can't just zap things out of existence or into existence. it's all done through organizing matter with the power of priesthood. And Jesus Christ obviously represents the grace and then you've got the grace and the priesthood. And if you look at it like that, without denying God, who the Mormons proclaim he is, it could work. But if you go into those sort of religions believing God created matter and exactly what happened in the Bible was true, the way it was, then you can't mix it, because it'd be like mixing Hebrew with Egyptian. But now I'm looking at it as, it's sort of somewhere in the middle. It's not a powerful Hebrew God as the Bible depicted, and it's not a powerful Egyptian God either. It's just God as such, organized matter. And I'm watching these amazing videos, and it's by the world top scientists and archaeologists, and they do believe in God. But this guy was freaked out because he said, "I always thought it was the Red Sea." It wasn't. There's no way they could have crossed over those mountains in 30 hours. It's even got the written archaeological drawings on the walls of these ruins that depict timing and everything, date, the works. So if it's not the Red Sea and it was the Red Sea, I don't know how all those soldiers got swallowed up. The ground would have to open up, but it didn't say anything like that. It just said they got swallowed up in the sea. So as far as I'm concerned, I think the time's come where I don't want to be in every word and fundamental. Now that I've got the evidence of the archaeological timing and how God was depicted for real, there's no point being a fanatical grace Christian. The LDS accepts the fact that all the events in the Bible didn't happen the way that it did exactly, and the eyewitnesses and the contradictions that the Muslims would say were off. So there was some porky pig lies there, you know what I mean? There was just some bull crap going on, and so everything's messed up. And why would God allow it? Because he's not the God of creation. He's the God of organizing matter. And who is the God of creation? It's no big deal, because we come from God the Father. So what's beyond that? I don't know. Consciousness or some big biscotti monster or mushroom or gas and matter that's got a conscious doesn't apply to us. The gods, when the God of Mormon Church said, "There will be no other gods before and after me," he's talking stone and metal gods. Because if he's not the creator and he's only the organizer of matter, then there's gods before him. Or we'll go right back to the consciousness of no God, or just something that like a big mushroom God, like whatever, just energy, consciousness. I don't know. But we will never know unless we're in the heaven where we meet Father, and Father will tell us. And if you don't get to heaven, in hell, that's part of hell, is that you'll never know how the universe goes on and on forever and ever. I don't believe it goes on forever and ever. I believe it goes as far as God's sphere of love, and there's nothing behind it. There's nothing behind the universe. It doesn't exist. If something doesn't exist, you're not going through, or there's nothing behind it. It doesn't exist. It's not. You see what I'm getting at? You can't put something there that's not there because it doesn't exist. Right. So God allowing the timing of this meteorite to wipe out Sodom and Gomorrah and all the other events, they're proving it. And nothing happened the way that it's supposed to happen, though there is evidence. But if that's the case, then all the other stuff doesn't exist. It was made up. And that means that religions who already accept that God organizes matter and it didn't happen the way it did, that means they may be preaching the truth. But it's going to make a lot of fundamental every word of Bible Christians feel like idiots. They're going to be shocked to find out that God is not the God that the Bible has made him out to be. It has been messed up. And why would God allow it? Because he's not the friggin' creator. He's the he organizes matter that's part of creation. And who is the God of creation? Not a person. Not a person. Consciousness. And who created consciousness? I don't know. But it's not to our salvation. It's so I can see how Egypt's got its gods, and the Mormons have got its gods, the Hindus have got its gods, but, not monkey gods and elephant gods, not that sort of gods, but, and the God of the Bible has created everything, and it happened exactly the way the Bible said. Well, it did not. I'm watching a movie which I've paid for. It's, this is not a freebie. This is a real documentary movie at highest level. And the amount of money they spent to do this archaeology, and the top archaeologists, and these people were believers in Christianity and everything. The thing is, it did not happen the way the Bible said it did. So that means, why should I attack Mormonism? Why should I attack any ism if the God of the Bible did not do what the Bible said he did in the way that it said? It means it's lesser the divinity. Not that I'm going to lessen the divinity of Jesus Christ, as Muslims will lessen his divinity and all that. I'm not going to get into that debate. I'm just saying the God, the Father, he used a scientific approach to wipe out people. No pointing the finger. It was a meteorite that was on course and it hit Sodom and Gomorrah. That's just one aspect. I'm not going to go into detail. There's every aspect that they're uncovering is proving it did not happen the way that the Bible said it did. Okay? Game over. Believe it or not. But anyway, I think we just need to take the speck out of our own eye and stop attacking all these religions. I don't believe in these people that would deny Christ or go into some type of white magic witchcraft and say that, love yourself in such a way and you'll go back to God or be reincarnated. I'm not going into all of that, okay? I'm just saying the God of the Bible, accordingly to what I'm seeing and the evidence proven, is depicting God as not as powerful as the God that's been exaggerated in the Bible, which means the Mormons already accept God as not exaggerated like the Bible has made him out to be. So that means the Mormons could be speaking something that makes sense to when you look at it. And they don't have any archaeological evidence of their book, but the Bible does. But who knows? It could be discovered one day. It's been kept secret, or God's made it invisible, or something. Can't find it. What a test! And every time they find a discovery or an archaeological discovery, it's never what it seems to be. But Mormons have already accepted that the things that happen, even in their book, may have not happened exactly the way it's written. They've made changes to the book too, just as the Bible's had changes made to it. So they've already accepted that. So who's in the right and who's in the wrong? But the whole thing about becoming gods and everything, look, they're not talking becoming gods as God is. not like that, as though God, once a man became a god. Not in the sense of you're above, he's always God, he's always Father. It's more like kings and queens of the Most High God. Kings and queens at the very highest level, which they call exaltation. And supposedly you've got to go through grace to even get there. Accordingly, the Bible would say nothing. Those who exalt themselves shall be abased, and those who abase themselves shall be exalted. So I would say yes, grace and priesthood, and knowing that the divinity of God did not zap into this universe, zap into existence. It was already there or created by some other means, and he just organized the matter. If that's the case, Mormon God has got something important to say. Amen? Believe it or not.